What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Working Wednesdays. I am Jesse Sr.
And I am George Lair.
Thank you for joining us. 'Tis the season, George. It's we're heading into we're actually closing out the year really soon.
That we are, man. 2025 is soon behind us. And I am very honored to be a part of this podcast with you today.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
You know, we are missing this little guy here.
We're missing somebody.
Jesse Jr.
But you know what? He'll be coming and going. So he's not with us in person, but he's here with us in spirit.
Yeah, I can hear him. I can see him. You know, he's got such a contagious laugh, man.
Yeah.
It's and this very outgoing attitude. I love it, man.
Yeah.
So, and speaking of contagious laugh and attitude, it's that time of year where a lot of us, we have that little bit of a seasonal change in our lives, right? So, I am so thankful to have such a great circle of influence, to have you and have, other good men in my life that are just very, very positive, uplifting.
Mm-hmm.
So
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
I appreciate you. Jeez. And, how are you guys doing out there? How's everybody feeling? End of 2025, holiday seasons. How do the holidays affect you personally? I'd like to know.
Yeah.
Shoot a comment.
Yes, shoot a comment. Because on that note, as we go into these seasons, some people might mask their emotions a lot better than anybody else.
Well, we're taught to do that in society. Yeah. We're men.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We're told, especially now, I'm in my 50s. I'm 50.
Whoa.
Yeah, buddy. No. Listen, I'm 50 and I'm proud of it. Look at me. I mean, I don't look bad for 50, man.
Yeah, brother.
Come on. Just for men has been doing just right for me. No, but all seriousness. As when we were growing up, we were always told, that we were not allowed to show our feelings as men.
Sure, right.
And of course, society that actually tells us a little bit different now. But nevertheless, it's what we grew up with.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I 100% agree with you. I was very fortunate to have very good friends like yourself, and
thank you, brother.
A good group of friends to kind of lean on and reach out to for advice or words of encouragement. I've always taken those opportunities. You've always said, my hand's out, my hand's out. I've taken your hand far too many times that I can count in life in general over the last 2 decades. But it's always good to have somebody, or even whether it's friends or family, to reach out and to help, to pick you up. Because again, going into this season after a long year, who knows what you're going through.
Yeah.
And it's really important to have, people to lean on, or anybody just to have a shoulder to lean on going into this season, to whatever you're going through.
Well, not everybody's as lucky as we are, as blessed as we are, right? Because not everybody has a really good, strong circle of men or women for that, right?
Yeah.
But, so
right.
I always say, and I use my friend. I have a friend who came here from Ecuador. She's been here about 3 years, and, she reaches out to people in her church, and that's her community. Those are the people that she goes out to, and those are the people who actually have welcomed her into where she is now. She's here alone.
Wow.
Right, and she works, and that's all she knows is the people that she's met through church and the people that she works. So,
what a great atmosphere.
It is.
Yeah.
It is, and not everybody's a church-going person.
Sure.
So maybe a leader at work. Mm-hmm. There's a difference between a manager and a leader.
Sure, absolutely.
A lot of times it's good, when you're not feeling 100%, to reach out to someone who's a leader.
Right.
Someone
right, to get that experience advice as opposed to someone that's more built on the managerial skill sets that might just be robotic in their response to somebody that's reaching out. You bring up a great point, and whether it's through your workplace or like you're talking about in the church, just to kind of reach out. If you're feeling doom and gloom in an environment like this, especially going into the holiday season, just having somebody to reach out, I think it's just very important.
No,
Very
I
important.
definitely agree with you. And you know what? I look at you as a leader, right? I have seen you in so many different. We've known each other for quite some time.
Yeah.
Our kids were just babies when we met,
Yeah.
and I worked with you at Banana Joe's when we were a lot younger. You were always the type of person who wants to watch other people succeed, and that's what makes you a leader. You're not afraid to show someone. Actually, you're not afraid to make or help make someone just as good, if not better, than you.
Yeah. Thank you for that, man. Thank you.
I see it.
And,
Man. I see it
yeah,
all the time. It's fucking amazing. Excuse the language out there.
it brings a smile to my face. As soon as you said that, it makes me think of just people that I've crossed paths with in my professional career, and seeing people exceed or get promotions. Like, man, I love that. Like, I love seeing people beat the system or excel in their profession or get promotions or learn new things. And at any given point in time, if I can be any part of that equation of helping them get up, that's all I want in life.
You and I have had conversations where you have recruited people, and you called me up and said,
Yeah.
you know what, so and so, do you remember? Yeah, I recruited him. Man, he's gotten so many promotions, and if we were in the same field, he'd be actually even a lot higher than I
I
am.
love it, man.
And
I love it.
you say that with so much joy,
Yep.
and I know you love it. I can tell.
And at the end of the day, too, George, if even like my own kids, man, I want my kids to far exceed anything I've ever done in this life.
Yeah.
I think about their goals and their futures, and they're I'm blessed to have bright children, and I just want them to have just anything they've ever wanted in life and want more in life. But obviously there comes the obstacles in the way, and
Of course.
as a parent, it's always difficult seeing your kids struggle in life, and
We always want the best for them.
we always want the best, absolutely, right?
But a lot of times, and I'm guilty of this, is that we do too much for them,
Yeah.
and we enable them
Mhm.
to the point where we don't let them fail,
Right.
because we're always there, making sure that we're giving them that helping hand. And I know it's probably the way that it should be as a parent,
Right. Yeah.
but how are we doing them any good, any justice by doing so? By always putting that pillow down if they're falling.
I know. It's the hardest thing in the world.
Of course it is. It's freaking
Yeah.
horrible.
Watching your children fail or hit brick walls, like it's hard. It's difficult, but we have to do it, man. And our natural parental instinct is to jump in and shield them or protect them or get them out of the troubles that have found them. And the hardest thing is really letting them go through life and face these battles alone. I've said it time and time again, and it is what it is. We've been there, we've done that, and all I hope in life is that the kids just continue to reach out to me for advice or tips. They don't. It's such a different generation
Of
nowadays.
course it is.
We were brought up in a different generation, man. Everything has changed tenfold since when you and I were kids, and the way that our parents have raised us, and the values that we've learned from them. Everything's changed now, brother.
It really has. You used the words gloom and doom earlier, and it reminds me of one of my favorite motivational speakers, Zig Ziglar. Zig Ziglar once said, "Give lifting those who are down your best shot, but don't stick around too long for their gloom and doom to actually keep you down."
Man, I love hearing that because Zig Ziglar. I'm a big fan of Zig Ziglar.
Oh my God,
And,
yeah.
and I love hearing when people bring up his name because that kind of that to me, like you're in my circle, man. When you start talking, dropping names like Zig Ziglar, Les Brown,
Oh,
Derek
Les Brown's
Thomas,
the man.
Dwayne the Rock Johnson, Arnold Schwarzenegger, like those are people that I've grown up. Literally, I actually listen to those guys every single morning.
Yeah.
On their motivational channels or speeches or just learning so much from them, and it's something that I look forward to every single day, and I do it every day. Every day I'd like to wake up and have like a strict routine to where I try to work out or
What's one of your favorite quotes from Arnold?
So Arnold, Arnold for Arnold, every single one of Arnold's workouts he does, no matter what, he always does 100 crunches. So I've always tried to implement that into all of my workouts every single day. As I'm getting older and my stomach's getting rounder, it's getting more difficult. But so Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's been through the grind. The guy's literally, like, his story is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Coming over from overseas,
Having nothing.
just his story. His story is
Right.
absolutely phenomenal. And then getting into bodybuilding and winning Mr. Olympia and everything else in between, and then getting into politics and everything else. So when I was watching a speech that he did, and someone asked him, like, how do you do it? You're such a physically fit man. Does your body need rest, and does your mind need rest and everything? And he goes, they say your body needs 8 hours of sleep. So I just tell them, sleep faster.
I know if you'd say that.
Yeah.
That's the greatest, man.
Sleep
That really
faster.
is. Sleep faster, right?
I mean, and then that's his mindset. And, at the end of the day, look where he's come. He's
come a long way.
It literally did everything. And at the elite level of doing things. He's
Yeah.
done it at the top level.
Determination.
Yes. 100%.
Determination.
So,
And, Dwayne Johnson,
mhm.
he's got his stories. My God. And he's a local boy.
$7, man.
Yeah.
$7 in his pocket.
And look
That
what
guy
he-
failed so much, he failed forward.
Yeah.
Literally. His story is incredible. He's a local guy.
Yeah.
And look where he's at now. He's literally, man, he's up there with being the top, like, 5 highest paid actors.
Yeah.
And he was
Went
a
from
local
nothing to
kid that got into trouble with law enforcement. Like, he was a punk kid and failed at his goal was to become a professional football player. Failed. At the end of the day, guys like that are certainly guys and stories that I enjoy listening to every single morning, man. And that helps me get my mind straight because, every day obviously there's a different hurdle or a different task or a problem to face. So I figure if I can get my mind right first thing in the morning, I work out with my buddy, listening to some empowerment, some motivational stuff, words of encouragement from my buddy. That's just how I choose to start my days, and getting fresh air and stretching your body out and getting the endorphins running and the blood flowing. I just kind of latched onto that routine.
I love that, man. I was just looking because I always get it wrong, but Michael Jordan, too, right? He always said, and help me out. Do you know the quote where, he tries so many foul shots in order to actually make...
He missed 1,000 foul shots to make like 10,000 or something along those lines.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. And, we're fortunate to have athletes in our generation that have just
Oh, yeah, we have.
phenomenal.
And
their work
influencers,
ethic.
yes.
Influencers
Yes.
and their work ethic and the fact that they're able to relay those messages to us on how they achieved to get to those levels. It's incredible, man. And, at the end of the day, if I can just...
Bo Jackson. Look at him, dude.
Bo Jackson.
Right? Do you remember?
Yeah.
That guy was a hell of an athlete. My
Yeah.
goodness.
As a matter of fact, Bo Jackson was a speedster. He was a dual athlete, both
Yeah.
football and baseball.
Yeah. So was Jordan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So was Jordan.
And a golfer.
Yeah. And it's insane because that's at a professional level. Whereas the odds, when you start putting those odds to get to that level, and then those guys are playing both,
Yeah.
it's phenomenal, man.
But you know what? to this day though, Tebow.
Tim T. Yeah,
Yeah,
love him.
He's
Love him.
yeah, absolutely.
What I like about Tim Tebow is his journey. He has a great journey, but he's not afraid to wear his religion on his sleeve.
No, he's not.
He's very vocal about everything.
That he is.
He's very engaged in his community and just an incredible asset to the community as well. So I enjoy listening and watching him as well, and he's doing a lot of good things out there, both personally and professionally. And again, the fact that he became famous for kneeling and praying in the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean, what a story, you know? And yeah, I'm glad you brought that name up. Yeah, he's a good character out there.
Yeah, but you know what? His story reminds me a little bit of you, though, too, man. You know, you really are out there for the community. You're always out there to lend a helping hand. I'm going to share this with everybody, but, you know, just a couple of months ago, I had a flat tire. You did not have a jack, and I needed a jack because the car was inside my garage, and I needed to actually get it out. And you were just about to leave the country for a business meeting, but yet you made a phone call to a friend who had a jack. You brought it over to my house. You waited for me to take care of what I needed to do. You went out and finished packing and doing everything else. And it wasn't until you came and picked up the jack that you told me, yeah, I have to leave and I have to be at the airport in
2.5 hours.
Yeah, in 2.5 hours. I got to go. I can't talk. And I was like, wow, like you could have said no, right? You could have actually told me anything else. But yet you went out of your way completely to make sure that I was and my stuff wasn't even so serious, man.
Yeah,
but, you took care of me.
And you would have did it too, man. I'm just happy to help, whatever I can do to help, whether it's physically or emotionally or whatever, you know. And that's why we're lucky to have, you know, friends. Have that
Blessed,
friendship
for sure.
And
no,
you know,
you've been there. I could count, you know, so many different times. Just recently, I'm going to keep sharing stories, man. You know, I'm driving to work. And my head's not right, and you know, I knew that I needed to have change the way that I was feeling. I needed to refocus. So what do? I sent Jesse a text message. I was like, "Yo, do you have 2 minutes, man? I just need a little positivity and uplifting. Can you talk?" So he didn't even respond. He just picked up the phone and called me. And you know, just like that, you know, we had a really good, strong conversation, and my whole entire rest of the week just skyrocketed, man, just because I needed that little bit of motivation, that little bit of a pep talk.
but what I will say with that though is, you know, as I was talking to you and pumping you up or whatever, like, man, when I hung up that phone, dude, I'm like, let's go. I was hitting like life, like, come on, life. And I actually was motivated and you know, tackled life that day. And I had a great day. It was a great conversation that we had. And, you know, sometimes speaking those things that were, you know, embedded into us and actually relaying those messages, it kind of like resurfaces it for ourselves. You know, it's good to talk, man. It's good to just talk and get these things out and engage with people and express things that you've learned along the ways, because, you know, at the end of the day, man, like everybody has a story.
Indeed.
No matter what, like you never know what the other person's going through.
No, you're right.
And that person could walk around, you know, lean and mean and motivated and the top guy, you know, in his company or doing this and doing that. And, you know, then all of a sudden he has a bad day, and like you just never know. And you know, being an adversary to pick somebody up or, you know, be a shoulder for somebody to lean on, it's important for me. I know it's important for you too.
Oh, indeed.
Yeah, it's great having a connection with somebody that you're comfortable enough to reach out to do that to. You know.
And that being said, what are some of the things that you're going through? What's going on in your holiday season? What's on your mind? How are you feeling out there? What's the vibe?
That's a great question.
Yeah,
And,
we'd like to hear from you. Put a comment and just reach out to us.
yeah, some people don't have somebody to reach out to.
Yeah.
I can't emphasize that enough. You know, people have family members that are no longer with us,
Yeah.
or with them. That might have been their rock or something. And sometimes if people are having problems, man, I'll tell you what, man, my phone's always on. George's phone's always on.
Oh, you bet.
And I would love to help out any way, shape, or form that I can. Our house is open. Your house is always open.
You bet.
So if anybody out there is going through any struggles or anything like that, it's the season. I don't want you going through this season alone.
You don't have to be through it alone. And you know what? And I will say this. We've known each other for a very long time.
Yeah.
There has been holidays that I have been single, alone. And, I've spent my holidays here with you, man, with you and your family. Just your adopted little Mexican brother. I'm Dominican, by the way, but
I try to tell people, because you opened up that door, like I could use my kids for example. It's great to go through this thing called life with a solid partner that you can lean on and whine to and bitch and complain to, and because again, everyone has a story, everyone's going through it, brother, and
it's nice having a support system.
100%.
Your significant other.
Even if they're shaking their head, but they're really watching their phone, oh yeah, just the someone that you can vent to, it's very important too, and my kids, one of my kids are married and they have a great relationship, and I'm so happy for the two of them, and so I have 3 more to go.
Yeah.
And I tell them that they're getting hit hard with life. Life is really hitting them hard, and I always tell them, hey, it would be a lot easier going through this with somebody. So, but
I see that with my my grandmother and the way that things were with my grandfather, right? They even though my grandfather's no longer with us, right? One of my greatest Christmas memories is, or not Christmas memories, one of my greatest memories is watching both of them. The one time I actually walked in, my grandmother took care of me when my mother left from the Dominican Republic to come to the United States back in the early 80s.
oh, interesting.
So I stay with my grandmother and grandfather and uncles, and we were all young. So the one day I wake up, or right before bed, I snuck into my grandmother's bedroom, and I find my grandmother and my grandfather, and they were kneeling, praying.
Wow.
Right at the foot of their bedroom, the foot of their bed. I mean, holding hands, kneeling, praying, and I will always carry that with me. It was such a beautiful thing to watch them always pray for themselves, for each other, for their families, for their children.
Interesting. What a great story, and what a great memory to capture as a young child, because
Oh yeah.
whether you know it or not, whatever that may have done to you in your life, just visualizing that moment in time from a religious perspective or a relationship perspective or trust perspective, that's yeah. Thank you for sharing that, man. That's
It's a beautiful
trying to
thing.
visualize that. That's pretty wild.
Right? I don't know where you guys thought I was going with
yeah,
this
yeah,
story,
yeah. Talking about knees. Yeah.
but
Interesting.
walking in on grandma and grandpa.
Hey.
But it's a beautiful thing, and sometimes, and I've even had conversations with my grandmother now that my grandfather is no longer with us. And I
Abuela.
ask her, abuela, yeah, which I'm going to be spending Christmas with.
Oh yeah.
Well, she's a great influence on me, man. That woman, I was the first
You're
grandchild.
Abuela's boy.
You better believe, grandma's boy.
That's great, man.
To this very day when I walk in her house, she lives in Yonkers, New York. I walk in her house and she gives me that big bear hug and sits me down. She's like 4'5", and she sits me down on her laps and siéntate aquí, have a sit right here. It's a beautiful thing, man. The love that that woman gives me
Hmm.
as the first grandchild of many grandchildren that she now has.
Yeah.
It's she's got great grandchildren. My daughter
Awesome.
now, right? Which my grandfather got to meet. It was a beautiful thing,
Hmm.
but nevertheless, it's that love, and she's in her 80s now,
Hmm.
and it took me a little bit to convince her to come and spend Christmas with me. So that's what I'm going to be doing,
Very cool,
man.
man.
I'm going to be hanging out, eating abuela's cooking.
Let's go.
Yeah, there's a
That's a
plan,
great
right?
story,
I'm going to make
yeah.
her cook.
That's awesome.
With my mother, my grandmother, maybe even my daughter.
Yeah.
Kids have changed so much these days. They don't see life like we used to, right? But it's an experience that I don't want to miss,
Yeah.
right? Because I don't know how many more Christmases I'm
Sure.
going to have with her.
Sure. Right. No, that's great, man.
What about you, man? What are you doing for Christmas? You doing anything special?
Just today I was out to see my in-laws.
Mm-hmm.
Just great people, great company. My sister-in-law, my brother-in-law, man, I don't know, like they are the best people in the world, man.
I love that. You don't
My
hear that often.
my brother-in-law is the most humble man, kind and humble person I've ever met in my life. Like, I always try to ask him about. He never talks about. He's just so kind. He's always wants to know everything about everybody else, and he's a great guy. Like, I enjoy their company so much. It's unfortunate they live close to 2 hours away, so we don't get out there too much.
Yeah.
But we got to spend some time with them today, and then so we'll be here for the holidays, staying local. We open up our doors to any friends and family. On Christmas morning, we normally head over to my brother's house. That's what we do. That's kind of like our tradition on Christmas morning.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, a lot of the family heads over there, and I don't have grandchildren now, so we go over there and enjoy friends and family and the company of everybody, and then we come back here and just kind of relax and hang out with the dogs and stuff like that. So, yeah, looking forward to it, man. It's been a long year, personally and professionally. So, looking forward to just kind of getting into the relaxed mode, taking a nice little break over the holiday season, and then just kicking down 2025's door and fucking full throttle, man. Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah. How about you, brother? Like, you've been doing some traveling lately?
Just a little bit. As you know, July of this year,
Mm-hmm.
I opened up my own company with the help of my partner Dave, and speaking of not doing things alone, right? I have an amazing partner who has helped me take my life into a completely new direction, right? Something that I've always wanted, something that I've always put out there to the universe is wanting to have my own company. And, now we're going into the second quarter of having Edge Español, which is a title agency. And being that I am Hispanic, I do speak the language. I like to think well enough. We help do title searches and settlements, and we're able to provide that in a language which makes it easier for those who are non-English speaking, who
Sure.
are Spanish speaking.
And I don't, not to cut you off, George, but
No.
I see you wear that. I see you wear the passion on your sleeve, man, and it's
important to me.
It's I can tell, bro. Anybody can tell, and I love seeing that about you. I love how you engage in a network within that community, your community, and
Our community.
our community.
Yeah,
Right?
of
Yes,
course.
exactly. And it's man, to be honest, brother, it's really good watching from the outside in, and just watching my guy, your passion for
Thank you,
that.
brother.
You know, and I love seeing it, man. And I'm your biggest fan. And you know, you and I, we've talked about this, and
Do you remember that? I didn't
yeah.
know what to do. I came to you. I was like, Jesse, man, I don't know, man. What do I do?
And it's much easier, you know, post that conversation.
Do you remember what you said to
I
me?
can say that now because back then, you know, looking back on it, and when we were talking to me about it, and I'm like, yeah, no, I get it, George. I get it. Guess what, George? And you're like, what? And I'm like, jump,
Right?
do it.
Yep. I remember that.
And I just remember you were just like you couldn't believe that I told you to do that. Now, again, mind you, it was much easier for me to say that from the outside in.
Yeah.
But sometimes that's all it takes is just the words of encouragement. And you know, I was a business owner for many years, and
A hell of a business owner too, man.
you know, making decisions and you know, it's not the easiest thing.
Well, you still have your business, which is a beautiful thing, which you've passed down to your son.
Yeah, right. Yes.
But nevertheless, now you kind of just oversee it from
Correct.
from the
Right.
back.
You know,
Yeah.
I advise him anymore
Right.
nowadays. You know, he's completely sole proprietor to doing all of that stuff. But it is good to just from the outside in, just to kind of give somebody those words of encouragement. And I'm glad you did it, man.
No, thank you, brother. And you know what? I remember because you're very fond of the people that I worked with before, right?
Yes.
They're good people for
I
sure.
love those people.
Right?
I love them.
As do I, right? And you know, I remember you started giving me a long spiel, and I honestly thought you were going to say, you know what, George, you're in a good place. Don't do it.
Yeah.
You know, you had all, but no, you gave me all the cons,
Yeah.
right? But then you switched it up, man, and you're like,
Right.
you know, you gave me all the great reasons as to why. And you played devil's advocate, but nevertheless, just to
Yeah.
open up my eyes
Yeah.
and tell me exactly why, like a great leader,
Sure.
right? Why I should. And
Yeah.
here we are.
I just wanted you to know what you were leaving behind because you were in a good spot.
Of course.
George, you were in a great spot,
Yeah,
brother.
yeah.
You were in a really good spot, but because of our close relationship, I knew what your personal and professional goals were,
Yes.
and that's kind of what I kept in my brain housing group. I knew that, and so when we had the conversation, I just wanted to make sure you weren't going to burn any bridges and
Right.
everything. But at the same token, man, dude, we don't get these opportunities, and an opportunity landed in your lap, and here we are now, all these months later, man. God, dude, I'm so glad that you did what you did, and here we are, man. And you're doing things. You're traveling. You got
What?
you got branches up and down the East Coast.
Cheers.
Man.
Well,
That's
we
phenomenal.
are, and we'll drink to that. We are now in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Maryland, Ohio,
Wow, man.
and Florida. So Florida has been a huge, huge place for us as far as growth, and so has New Jersey. There are so many Hispanics that are moving into these areas that are coming from overseas that, you know, where I'm able to speak to them in a language that is comfortable for them and able to have these real estate settlements for them. And Edge Espanol has been just a huge blessing, not just for myself, but for those that we were able to assist
Sure.
in their own language.
Right.
So, you know, so far combined with Edge Settlement Associates and Edge Espanol, we have over 120 employees, and you know, it's something. It was a dream that my partner started over 27 years ago. Just him, and then he had a non-compete way back in those days. So you know, he had a kid and a wife and a mortgage and a car payment, and you know, I know his story and how much he suffered to get to where we are today. But we have over 120 employees,
Man.
and somebody who actually shared the same dream and passion, right? 20 plus years ago, almost 30 years ago. And, you know, just to have the opportunity to be a part of it with him
Yeah.
is, it's a huge blessing. It really is.
Looking from the outside in, brother, if man, I know he didn't get comfortable, and that's all I'm gonna say to you, man.
No, and to this
They'll
very day,
never
man.
get comfortable, brother.
Right. That
Never
goes
get
out to
comfortable.
you as well. You know, sometimes life is going to bring you down. Sometimes life is going to be tough. Life is definitely never fair. And just when you're down and you think you've had enough, my advice to you is to never, never quit. You could stop, you could take a breather, you could take a break, but whatever you do, never stop pursuing your dreams and always stay grateful, be thankful. Be thankful for waking up every morning. Be thankful for being able to breathe. There's times where maybe you might not be able to make ends meet, but I I promise you that if you keep trying, it's going to get better. There are people out there that have it so much worse than what we've had, and I've been there, man. I came to the United States. I slept on the floor of one of my mom's friends. I know what it's like to actually come from completely nothing. I was grateful to be able to just have rice some points, right? And man, I remember having ketchup to go with that rice. And my life has been still a struggle every once in a while, but life is good. Just promise me you're never going to give up.
There's
And
always
promise
tomorrow.
me, yeah, every day above ground, it's a great day. You just have to keep trying. You just have to stay thankful. You just have to keep a thankful heart and strive to be the very, very best that you possibly can be.
100%, man.
Jesse, you have a story, right? And life wasn't always easy for you. But going back to what Jesse said earlier, and I'm not practicing what Jesse's preached, right? But my dream, my goal, is to at some point have that significant other to actually share my life with. And I was thinking about that today because my burdens would be a lot lighter had I had someone to share
Sure,
those
man.
with, right? So, but you and your
That,
wife, you guys have made a great life for each
and that
other,
didn't,
with each other,
it wasn't easy. Nothing's easy, brother. I
right?
tell you that much, man. Nothing's easy. And, at the end of the day, I'm grateful. I'm thankful. And, I wake up and start all over again. Every day is a new challenge. And, you know, I've said it to you 10 times, 100 in the past, to go through it. Every day is going to kick you in the nuts, man. And
Yeah,
to go through it, to go through the battle with somebody, it's just 100 times better. I
yeah.
cannot emphasize it enough. I preach it to my kids, um, but everyone will find their own,
No, of
inner
course.
place.
And in the words of Marvin Gaye, whether things are good or bad, if you're happy or sad, it's things are better when you stay together, when you're with someone. Um, and me, on the other hand, though, I'm very blessed. I'm very thankful. I have a very small circle that I have kept in my life, right? The people that I associate with. And, that circle is what keeps me going,
Hmm.
right? I have you in my life. I have some, a handful of people that I could actually call friends, that I could pick up the phone and say, hey, this is what I'm struggling with. And even from that handful, there's still only like one, maybe two people, you being one of them, that I know that I can pick up, that has lived it. And, again, that you are the definition of a true leader,
Thanks,
which,
man. I appreciate that, brother.
I've always
Yeah.
admire and appreciate.
Hey, we're here for each other, man. And you know, what I want to emphasize is just going into the holiday season.
Hmm.
If there's anybody out there that doesn't feel like they have somebody, or is going through problems, and they feel like the walls are caving in, you know, George's phone's on, my phone's on.
Oh, you bet.
Our doors are open, and you know, we want people to have somebody to you know, lean on, or just to express any frustrations, or you know, whatever issues anybody may or may not be going through during the holiday season. It's just best to be with friends and families. So can't emphasize that enough, brother.
No, and you know what? I would say this. There has been times throughout my life where, I've been single during the holidays, and, I've spent my holidays with you.
Dude, and
You've always,
and those were great holidays for me too. Like at the end of the day, those were great holidays. Having you there with me and my family, it was great, man. I cherish those times, and so that's my point. Is if somebody has to or wants to reach out to somebody, dude, do it. Do it. It takes me back to the military days when guys used to come here to Pennsylvania. Some of my military buddies would drive up here to Pennsylvania to spend time with, for the holiday season with my family. I cherish those moments, and those are things that some of those guys, who lived or came from the West Coast weren't able to go home. Hey, jump in my car, let's go home. So, yeah.
I love that, man. You've always been a fostering man, and you still do it to this very day. I mean, I love how you have fostered a lot of canines.
Oh, yeah.
And you have God has blessed you with a great house, and in your house you have how many canines?
We have 5 right now.
Yeah.
So,
and that's a beautiful thing.
yeah.
And you have taken those dogs from, you have stopped them from going into a kill shelter.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
I remember the one time you came over to my old house in Whitehall, and what's his name, Wyatt?
Mm-hmm.
Was it Wyatt?
Yeah. Wyatt's my English Mastiff.
Is that the blind dog?
Oh, no. That was Hunt.
Hunt. Hunt.
Yeah.
Hunt was blind, had no
He
teeth,
was deaf too.
and he was deaf. And you were so good to that dog, and that dog followed. I don't know how he followed you around.
He smelled.
Smelled,
The
yeah.
scent, yeah.
But you've been a very sheltering, loving, caring individual. Shit, from the day that you hired me up at Anna Joe's, I don't know how many years ago, right? Decades ago, when our kids were just babies.
Yeah. If I could say anything about the dogs is, to be honest, George, is those dogs probably have done more for me than I've done for them. And that's saying a lot, man. That's powerful because, I had a conversation with my son the other day, and he's going through some stuff, and I'm like, listen, man. At the end of the day, like, if you feel like, life is punching you in the face, take your dogs for a walk.
Yeah.
Take the dogs for a walk. Or lay down on the floor, cuddle the dogs. Man, those dogs are only here for a portion of our lifetime,
Yeah.
but we are here for their whole lifetime.
Truth.
So the love that they have for us, man, whenever I get out of my car from a long day of work and I'm walking up to my house, man, my dogs are looking out the window and I can see their tails wagging. And, man, I immediately, there's just stress. And I just want to go in and hang out with my wife, the kids and the dogs. And, I take the dogs for a walk every single day. That's a part of my routine, my system to take work off.
And I can see the joy that it brings into your life.
Yeah, it's great, man. Rain, snow, or shine. And I'm not even kidding. In the last 8 years, I have never missed a day, like, naturally, of weather. Again, if it was pouring out, snowing, 0 degrees, I will walk my dogs no matter what, because that's one of their favorite things to do. And they protect this house. They protect my family. If I can take them to do something that they love to do, that's the least I can do. And I enjoy. I've come to enjoy doing it.
I love that mentality, brother. Again, spoken like a true leader. So I always say
Appreciate that.
I admire you and I appreciate you. What are you thankful for out there? And, not just that. I mean, what's going on in your life? What are you thankful for? What are you struggling with? What questions do you have? We're here for you. Just want you to know that. And please know that you're not alone. Whether we know you, we don't. Um, if you're looking for a brotherhood of veterans,
Yeah, man.
we are here for you.
Yeah, George, well said. And I think going into 2025, um, have questions for us, or we're always looking for more guests. If you want to be a guest on the podcast, man,
Absolutely.
we have a seat right there. We have some seats over there. We'd love to have you. We'd love to have great discussions with you, and this was a great episode to kind of talk about the holiday season and what we're all going through, and the emotions that come with the season, and the fact that we're blessed to have each other and friends and family,
And we're blessed to have you watching as well.
100%.
We thank you for that. We thank you for your presence. We thank you for your time. And if you like what we're talking about, please please follow us. Please please share, and please comment. Let us know what other topics you want to hear, what other things you want to talk about. I mean, I'm 50 years old now. I've lived a pretty darn good life, and if I'm invited to come back and hang out at this show, I'd like to continue to have topics about life and experiences and what makes you who you are.
100%, man. Absolutely. It's been a great time, George.
It's been an amazing time. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming, man. And I look forward to diving deep into these, further into these conversations moving forward, man. And it's gonna be fun. And yeah, we'll bring on some awesome guests, and let's kick down 2025's door together and have a discussion next year about the same stuff.
So my wish to you is that you have a excuse me, a prosperous, healthy, as I cough, and happy new year that you could share with your families, your loved ones, all the great things that are to come. I wish you a very successful 2025, your loved ones, and promise us, you're never give up, that you continue to strive and be the best that you possibly can for yourself, if for nobody else. Lots of love, and we'll see you soon. For those who are watching, we salute you, baby.
Worky Wednesdays podcast. Like, subscribe, follow. George, my brother.
Thank you, brother.
Thanks so much, man. Love
I
you,
appreciate
kid.
you. Love you too, brother. Love you guys out there.
Let's go. Here we go.